Yo, what up, everybody? ETA on the EUC. Doing something really random right now. I mean, really random. Like, I got off my shift probably around 1:50 in the morning. And what time is it right now? It's 2:53 in the morning. I'm heading up my way towards the Greenway bike pathway, which is like kind of by the water. It's kind of like an undisturbed part of the city. And why am I out at this time? Why am I out at nearly 3 o'clock in the morning? Especially after I just spent 7 to 8 hours doing food delivery. It's because I just found out through Adrian McPherson that, if you guys don't know who that is, fellow NYC food delivery driver who also is a content creator. I'll leave a link in the description. You guys should check it out. Definitely subscribe. He has great content. So I found it in his community post that he put on his channel that New York finally passed the minimum wage law for these food delivery apps. And what that means is NYC drivers, food app delivery drivers, DoorDash, Uber, Grubhub, NYC is now mandating that these apps, it's the first time it's happened in the country, anywhere in the country, that the apps give a minimum wage. For those of you who might not know, these apps primarily run off, they pay you per order, not per hour. Now they've done like pilot programs, like in different cities, testing out. I know DoorDash has that they're testing out a pay per hour. Now, they haven't done that here in the city, in New York City, so I have no idea what that's like. But basically, it's going to come into effect here starting, I think, July 12th of this year. So literally like maybe a month from now. So if you're in NYC and you're a food delivery driver, and supposedly there's 60,000 of us, which doubled since last year or doubled since the pandemic. Like a huge boom happened. Food delivery drivers used to be like 25,000 before the pandemic, and then after the pandemic, now there's like 60,000 food delivery drivers. Okay, yeah, this is what I like. I'm on the bike pathway here. Fucking nobody's out here. Anyway, yeah, that's the reason I came out here, because A, this news, and B, because I finally have a quiet space here in the city, even though there's traffic going by. And I just wanted to get out this news because I'm going to be kind of busy these next couple of days. So I figured, why the hell not, you know? So basically, I'm just going to talk about my thoughts about this, like what this means for NYC delivery drivers, which is myself. I do this full time on electric unicycles, if you haven't figured that out yet. I think I have probably like 8,000 to 10,000 deliveries, somewhere around there, between 8,000 and 10,000. I don't know. I didn't really count. I know I have like almost 6,000 on Uber. Anyway, I'm just saying that because I have experience, blah, blah, blah. So like, what does this mean? I mean, it's going to happen in a month, right? So what does this mean for us? Is this a good or bad thing? Well, this is what I've noticed with some of these apps, and this is how I think the apps are going to respond. You know, the city has brought this up, that they were going to do this. They've been talking about this for years now, and I recently, late last year, 2022, they said they were going to put it into effect. They said they're going to do $1 per hour minimum wage. And once again, no city in America has done this. I think the pilot programs with DoorDash, they were doing pay per hour, but that's all I know about that. I don't know if that was official, if it's something that's here to stay or whatever, but as far as I know, it's the first time this ever happened in the city, in any city in America. A mandate minimum wage they're going to have to pay you. So what does that mean? A month from now, we're going to get this minimum wage, and it's going to be 17, I think 96 or 98, almost $18 an hour. It's like $17.96 per hour, minimum base pay. So that's what you're going to get paid, guaranteed. That means not only on active deliveries, that means while you're delivering. This also means when you're sitting around. So when you hit that sign in, when you hit that start with your delivery apps, that's when the $1 per hour goes in. That's when the minimum wage of $17, almost $18 an hour goes in. So it goes in even if you're not getting any orders. You know, you could be sitting there not getting any orders and you're getting paid $18 an hour. However, that's just the base pay. On top of this minimum wage, which is almost $18 an hour, they're also going to let us keep the tips. So basically you're getting an $18 an hour base pay, and then you can keep the tips on top of that If this was just $18 an hour without any tips, I'd quit. It's just not, it's not fucking worth it. I made, during the slow time, which is when it gets hot out and stuff like that, especially during the summer, the lowest dollar per hour I've done, like average, like there was one day I recorded, I did like $11 an hour, right? But that's not average. For the summer on average, this is my lowest dollar per hour for the average of the summer, which is the lowest dollar per hour for the season for me. I made $23 an hour. And then, obviously it picks up, like in the spring, for me, it's like $26 an hour. That's what I average. And then like in the winter, I get all the way up to $30 an hour. It's like $29 to $30 an hour. That's me. Everyone's different in a way. I mean, it depends when you work, all that stuff. I'm not going to be talking about that, but I'm just talking to my personal experience. So if they were just to give us a $18 minimum wage and not include the tips, like if this was just some job where you can't keep the tips, doing $18 an hour, I'd quit. I'd quit. I can get it, that's low, especially in the city. In New York City, the minimum wage is $15 an hour? But like you can get plenty of jobs right now that no experience, right off the street, pay more than $18 an hour. So if they were just to give us flat $18 an hour without keeping the tips, I'd quit. But that's not the case. Supposedly it's going to be $18 an hour plus tips. Okay, so this is where my opinion comes in, and this is where a lot of people kind of worry about this, food delivery drivers, because what is this going to mean? On the surface level, it sounds good, right? It's like no matter what, we're going to get $18 an hour plus we can keep the tips. So if things are going to be the same, we're going to be doing deliveries and we're going to keep the tips on top of that. So we're going to be making a decent amount, 25 to 30. That's what you assume, right? But that's just looking at the very surface of it. This is where it kind of worries me, because these laws, these people that made these, that are making these mandates, these politicians for the city, they're still giving these apps a lot of leeway to decide how they want to run this, right? Yeah, they're going to have to pay $18 an hour, but they're also going to have the option to choose how they want to go about this. So like these apps can do anything, almost. It's like, okay, so New York City's going to force us to do $18 an hour. Okay, so therefore we're going to incentivize less tips, And they can pull strings, right? They can do that kind of shit. They can even take tips away if they wanted to. They don't have to pay us tips. They can just be like, hey, okay, well, this is what it is. We're going to have to start paying $18 an hour for everybody. So now we're just not going to give people an option to tip. They could do that. They could do a lot of weird things. They could start doing very strict scheduling. They could be doing tiers, like saying like, oh, if you don't have an acceptance rate of 50% of above, you're not going to get any schedules. And if you don't get any schedules, you're not going to be able to work. They can do a lot of things to counterbalance this, right? Because paying $18 per hour for every worker, they're going to automatically lose money because they have so many people signed up. But right now, they're only getting paid per delivery. So if automatically in a month from now they got to pay all these drivers that are signed up to their platform, now they have to pay them per hour even when there's no deliveries. They're going to lose money doing that. So they're going to have to do something, and that's what scares me. The law is giving these apps the freedom, the flexibility to choose how they want to go about this. So that means highly restrictive companies, in my opinion, like DoorDash, who are already super restrictive in what they do, Top Dasher, high acceptance rate to get better orders, or Grubhub, where you gotta I don't even know. I haven't even scheduled a block with Grubhub forever, but you gotta have high acceptance rate to basically get any money with them, basically. So these apps, what they're gonna do, I can almost guarantee it. If they gotta pay every single person on their platform $18 an hour, they're not gonna be able to do that. They're gonna lose more money than they're losing now. I mean, these companies aren't that profitable yet. So they're likely going to lay off workers. They're going to lay off, and they're going to more than likely select the workers with high acceptance rates, the workers who are good little workers for them, the workers that take the shitty ass deliveries, that do all that crap, right? They're definitely going to do something to restrict access to working, because they're going to have to lay off workers. And that's what I'm afraid of. They can do a lot of things. They can get very creative, restricting hours, laying people off, making it very hard to get schedules, making weird rules, for instance, like you can schedule yourself to work for them, and if you don't finish the delivery within a certain amount of time, they can kick you off or basically fire you. They can just do a lot of weird shit. With DoorDash and Grubhub, me personally, I don't really care. I'm kind of curious how this is going to affect them because already with them, they're already restrictive, right? You have to have a certain amount of acceptance rate, like I said, to basically be getting orders, A top dasher gets the priority order supposedly and all this other crap. So basically what I'm saying is if this mandate goes into effect and now they're forced to pay $18 an hour, it's like, okay, well, I wasn't making that much with them by themselves anyway, so it's going to be a good thing for me. But will it? Because like I said, I could get laid off, right? You don't know what these apps are going to do. The only app I'm worried about that I don't want this to go in effect is Uber Eats, because Uber Eats is the only app that is not as restrictive as DoorDash and Grubhub. And what I mean by that, they don't have this certain acceptance rate to get more orders, at least that I'm aware of. I'm a diamond driver for Uber because I continually get orders even though I cancel other orders, and so Uber just keeps throwing orders at me. Meanwhile, DoorDash and Grubhub have restricted my orders because they go with this high acceptance tier list to get priority access. So I don't want anything to change with Uber Eats. In other words, with DoorDash and Grubhub, I don't really care because I don't even think I'm getting $18 an hour if I was just to work with them alone, unless I do Top Dasher or something, but I don't like to do that because we're doing multiple apps. But what I'm afraid of is if now Uber has to do this dollar per hour, how are they going to change things up? Are they going to start giving us schedules now like DoorDash and Grubhub? Are they going to start being restrictive on us like DoorDash and Grubhub? Are they going to start laying off workers? Are they going to have tier list acceptance rate where you got to make a certain acceptance to get orders? That's one thing I like about Uber is they don't do that. But putting them in a minimum wage thing like this, where they have to pay everybody $18 an hour and then you get to keep the tips, this might force Uber's hand to follow suit like DoorDash and Grubhub. Even worse, what might happen is you're going to have to work for one app and only one app. Multi-apping is going to go away. At least in New York City, if they had to pay you, it's going to be like an employee job. It's like they're going to find a way to where you can't make $18 an hour per app at the same time. Because think about that. That's definitely not going to happen. Think about that. Okay, so now all of a sudden these apps have to pay $18 an hour. So now DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber, you're just going to sign on with them, and all of a sudden now you're making $18 an hour with Grubhub and $18 an hour with DoorDash and $18 an hour with Uber. It's not going to work that way. You're not going to be making fucking almost $60 an hour just for signing on to the apps. That's not going to happen. What's going to happen, likely, I'm almost certain that's not going to happen, or else everyone's going to quit their fucking job and do food delivery, right? What's going to happen is these apps are going to come up with some way to figure out to just deliver with them. It's going to happen. They're going to get super restrictive to where if they notice that you're multi-apping or something like that, they're just going to kick you off their platform. Because ain't no way delivery drivers out here are going to be making $60 an hour sitting around with three apps running. It's not going to happen. So likely you're going to have to pick one app and stick to one app like it's a job, right? Like it's a regular job, right? Think about that. No more multi-apping. It's going to be like driving for fucking Domino's or something. You're going to be getting paid a minimum wage and keeping the tips, but you're only going to be able to do one app at a time, so it's going to be like working for a fucking company. And multi-apping is the name of the game. Multi-apping is the thing that allows us to make more than $18 an hour, that allows us to make $30 an hour during the winter, that allows us to make $26 during the spring, the fall. Without multi-apping, what does this mean? Think about that. On the surface level, $18 an hour plus you can keep the tips. Oh, that sounds great, guys. That sounds real great. Yeah. But these apps, they're not going to allow you to do that. They're not going to allow you to run 3 apps at a time, making $18 an hour for each one at the same time. It's not going to happen. That's just my opinion, but I feel pretty strong about that. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, I briefly read about this shit. Like I didn't really like get a lot of info. I don't think there's a lot of info out there. It's pretty basic. But the other key part I haven't mentioned, which I apologize, I probably should have brought this up earlier, is I read, at least in the New York Times article, it said that, yeah, they're going to be doing a dollar per hour minimum wage, but you're also going to have an option to do pay by order, which is what they've been doing since they've started, right? Is what we're doing now. So you're going to have two options. You can do the pay per hour, which is going to be like the minimum wage, or you can do the pay per order, which is what we're doing now. So they're going to, supposedly, these laws are going to allow these apps to give you two options. Now, when I heard about this whole minimum wage thing with these apps, that they're going to think about turning this into law, well, they are going to turn this into law. I heard about this late last year. You know, I sent an email, I sent whatever to the commission of whatever, I can't even remember. And I even sent one to Eric Adams and like all that shit, basically saying like, hey, if you guys are going to do this, like, at least I told them my worries. I said, hey, you know, I'm fearful what these apps are going to do, you know, how they're going to further restrict us. But if you guys are dead set on this, if you guys are going to do this, at least give us an option to choose a dollar per hour minimum wage thing like you guys are proposing, as well as allowing us the option to keep what we're doing now, so the pay per order. And I sent that message out. Now, who knows if that changed their mind, that they saw that and they're like, that's a good idea, let's do that. But that's what's going to happen, supposedly, according to New York Times, is, once again, they're going to mandate the dollar per hour, and they're going to give us an option to do what we're doing now, which is the pay per order. Now that's good, because that allows people like myself who might want to continue doing the pay per order system and do it that way. But now that they're mandating this dollar per hour, that's even going to change. I think what's going to happen, if I was to bet, like I said, even though they're going to do this dollar per hour minimum wage thing, and they're going to allow us also the option to pay per order, these companies are still going to have to downsize to save money, because during the summer, everyone's going to be going towards the $18 an hour plus the tips, because the summer sucks. You can sit there for hours, not make money. Or they're just going to give you an option like you can do either or permanently, but you can't choose back and forth so easily, you know. But what's going to happen is they're going to downsize, or you're going to get less pay per orders. You're going to see less. I mean, these apps have this power to even restrict, like I said, to restrict how many pay per orders you get. If they're like, well, damn, we got to pay dollar per hour now, why should we give them more pay per orders? They can do a whole bunch of things like that. Who knows how this is going to shape out? Now, I sound very negative about this, but it's because I know how these apps work. You know, they got to make money, you know, and as far as I see, they get more restrictive and more restrictive and more restrictive. At least Grubhub and DoorDash, especially DoorDash, they just get more and more restrictive, more and more controlling. Might as well make us employees, right? I mean, fuck. You know, that's why I'm kind of negative, because I know how these apps typically operate. And I really feel like they're going to do some restrictions that's going to be negative for drivers. But this also could be a good thing. You don't know, I don't know what this could mean. This might actually I doubt it, but this could just mean like that's all that's going to change. You know, so we'll still be getting the same amount of offers doing pay per order, and we have an option to do the dollar per hour, and nothing's going to change there. If we want to do that, great. That sounds great on the surface. Now, if they were to do that, great. That's great. That means you can choose either one. If it's slow, you can go to the dollar per hour and make the tips on top of that. And if it's busy, like in the winter, you can not do the dollar per hour and then do the pay per order and make more money that way. But that's not, I just feel like that's not what's going to happen. But I'm definitely not qualified to really talk about like how this is going to shape out. No one really knows how this is going to shape out, but one thing for certain, they're going to have to start doing the minimum wage. That's going to happen here in a month, July 12th. Once again, how these apps respond, no one really knows. It could be negative, it could be positive, we just don't know. It could be taken away a little bit, but adding more somewhere else, you just don't know. So yeah, that's just my quick opinion. I could be totally wrong. And it's like 3 o'clock something in the morning right now. I'm basically nocturnal anyway, so I'm not even tired. I just wanted to say this right now while I had the opportunity, while it's still fresh, and hopefully put this out pretty soon. What do you guys think? What do you think these apps are going to do? What's your opinion of this? Are you going to keep driving? Is this something you want to see? Are you looking forward to it? Are you not looking forward to it? Let me know your opinion. Leave your comment in the comment section below. Anyway, I just wanted to get this out there and let me know what you guys think. You guys got about a month. Let's see what happens. I am optimistic and pessimistic about this. I'm more pessimistic about this, especially how Uber might change, because I like the way Uber runs things right now. If it wasn't for Uber, I wouldn't be doing this. If it wasn't for Uber, I wouldn't make enough. But DoorDash and Grubhub, my personal opinion, fuck them. Let them change. Let them do the dollar per hour, because guess what? You ain't paying me shit anyway. Doing your stupid top dasher bullshit. I don't like it. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to edit this and talk to you later.